The human heart, long seen as merely a pump sustaining life, is, in truth, far more than muscle and rhythm. Modern science now uncovers what mystics and sages knew millennia ago. The heart holds a unique intelligence. This intelligence is not just metaphorical. Electromagnetic signals from the heart surpass those from the brain. It influences thoughts, shapes perception, and can even predict outcomes before logic arrives. Could this be the way God whispers, not to the mind first, but to the heart? In Scripture, the heart is not a poetic symbol, but a sacred vessel. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5:8. Not hear, not think, see. Clarity and communion begin in the inner chamber of emotion. The field of neurocardiology shows that the heart sends more information to the brain than it receives. This one-way dialogue implies the heart may be leading and the brain following, a reversal of hierarchy, a divine design. Our emotions, once dismissed as distractions, are actually signals rich in guidance. They don't simply reflect experience, they shape it. Every surge of peace, grief, or joy sends a message through the vagus nerve, tuning the body's frequency. If the mind is the radio, perhaps the heart is the antenna, and God, the frequency. From the Psalms to the Bhagavad Gita, emotions have been revered as bridges to the divine. Compassion, stillness, surrender. Each one a spiritual practice, each one a transmitter. Ancient prophets knew what the heart feels deeply, the soul hears clearly. Our emotional patterns, repetitive and loud, create internal landscapes. As neural networks form from repeated thought, emotional circuits shape character. Forgiveness, empathy, patience, they are not traits. They are trained responses, rehearsed acts of devotion. Could it be that emotions, when purified, are the language of the divine? HeartMath studies reveal a phenomenon called coherence, a physiological harmony between heart and brain. In moments of gratitude, love, or deep prayer, the heart emits rhythms that sync with the brain. In these sacred seconds, humans align with a higher consciousness. Might that alignment be a doorway? We are told in Ezekiel, "I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you." This is no metaphor. It is transformation, neurological, emotional, and divine. Trauma clouds the heart's intelligence, but through prayer, meditation, and community, this sacred organ can remember its rhythm, the rhythm of love, the rhythm of God. Just as muscles grow with resistance, emotions gain strength through challenge. Suffering isn't the absence of God. It is often his sharpening tool. Every heartbreak may actually be a breakthrough. Every longing, a lesson. Every ache, a question whispered toward heaven. As neuroscience continues to decode our biology, spiritual wisdom remains one step ahead, and at the center of both is the heart, living, listening, leading. So if you're seeking signs, if you're praying for answers, don't just listen to your thoughts. Feel your heart and ask, what emotion is God speaking through today? In the stillness of meditation or deep prayer, a mysterious harmony can unfold. The heart's rhythm becomes smooth, its signals strong. This is called coherence, a sacred state where mind and emotion align. Science tells us that in this state, the immune system strengthens, stress hormones diminish, and clarity emerges like dawn from night. But spiritually, it's more. It's a glimpse of the kingdom within. Scripture says, "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46:10. Coherence is that stillness, not silence, but spiritual resonance. In this quiet inner alignment, the heart becomes a sanctuary, a space where divine instruction isn't heard, but felt. Across civilizations, the heart was never just a metaphor. The Egyptians weighed it against a feather to judge the soul. In Chinese medicine, it governs Shen, the spirit. In the Upanishads, it's the seat of Atman, the higher self. The ancients were not primitive, they were intuitive and perhaps divinely inspired. Modernity seeks proof, but our ancestors lived by feeling, not in rejection of thought, but in reverence of something deeper. And what they discovered? That inner harmony and unexplainable peace is not weakness, it is wisdom. The Sufi mystic Rumi once wrote, "Close your eyes, fall in love, stay there." A call to descend into the heart and remain. Emotions are not enemies to be conquered. They are messengers, often misunderstood. Anger points to a boundary crossed, sadness to something sacred that has been lost. Joy reminds us of God's nearness. Awe confirms His majesty. Each emotion, when honored, leads to deeper clarity. This is emotional alchemy, transforming feelings not through suppression, but through surrender. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Psalm 51:10. This is not just a spiritual request. It is a neurological rewire. It is a return to alignment. The more we allow emotions to pass through us, not rule us, the more the heart clears. And in that clarity, the divine voice grows louder. Imagine your emotions as a compass. Each spike of fear, each pulse of peace guides your internal navigation. When something feels off, perhaps it's not just your mood. Perhaps God is saying, this is not your path. And when something feels right, even without reason, maybe that's the divine whisper, here, this way. We're told in Isaiah, you will hear a voice behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. Sometimes that voice is a feeling. Emotion precedes thought. Intuition speaks before logic, and the heart, when quieted, is a compass touched by eternity. But what clutters the heart? What clouds the signal? Resentment, jealousy, shame. Each acts like static in a divine transmission. To hear clearly, we must clear these distortions. Forgiveness is not for the other, it's for your own signal, so your soul can hear without interference. In Buddhism, this is equanimity. In Christianity, peace. In psychology, emotional regulation. In all, the heart is cleared when the burden is released. The heart, once cleansed, doesn't just beat, it speaks. And when it does, truth echoes across body, mind, and soul. In Corinthians, it is written, do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? If the body is a temple, then the heart is the altar, where offerings of love, pain, surrender, and hope are placed, where God's presence descends not in thunder, but in stillness. Every heartbeat is an act of worship. Every breath, a sacred offering. You don't have to go far to hear Him. He is within, and in that holy space between stimulus and response, between pain and peace, you may hear it, the soft voice you've longed for. Be not afraid, I am with you. So let the world be loud, let the chaos swirl, but you return to your heart, because God may be waiting there, not as a booming command, but as a whisper of peace, a surge of love, a clarity beyond words. The heart doesn't rush, it beats in rhythm, a divine cadence not dictated by urgency, but by eternal wisdom. God's voice often arrives not when we demand it, but when we're ready, not at the height of noise, but in the valley of surrender. Emotion teaches timing. Grief slows us so we remember. Love expands us so we receive. Anger stirs us so we protect. And stillness? It prepares us to hear. This is not delay. It is divine calibration. The soul aligned with the heart moves not fast, but right. Every emotion is a flame, and like gold in the furnace, the soul is refined through fire. Trials aren't punishment, they're purification. They strip away illusion, burn away false desires, and temper the heart into a vessel that can hold God's light. As the prophet Malachi writes, he will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. Malachi 3:3. So too, your heart is refined, not destroyed, by intensity. Emotion is energy in motion, and when blessed, that energy becomes devotion. To feel deeply is not to be weak, it is to be human, it is to be divine. There is an ancient intelligence in the heart, older than logic, wiser than reason. When the heart leads, decisions are clearer, not clouded. Intuition sharpens, grace enters. The Desert Fathers spoke of this state as new, a sacred knowing beyond intellect, a wisdom that doesn't explain, it recognizes. You've felt it before, a peace that made no sense, a pull toward something unseen, a certainty that had no evidence. That was the heart speaking, and perhaps God speaking through it. In this way, the heart is a prophet, quiet, consistent, and connected. You are not empty. You are not lost. The sacred has always been within you, sleeping perhaps, but never absent. The awakening begins when you listen, not outwardly, but inwardly. Close your eyes. What do you feel? Beyond the noise of thought, beyond the weight of memory, is a quiet warmth, a pulse, a presence. That is the heart, and that is holy ground. When you honor your emotions, when you align your rhythm with gratitude, peace, and reverence, you become a living prayer. The veil thins, the whispers grow louder, and suddenly you realize you were never alone. Not in the heartbreak, not in the confusion, not in the waiting. God was always there, in the tears, in the stillness, in the rise and fall of your own chest. To hear God is not to escape emotion. It is to enter it deeply, with reverence, with courage, with the knowing that He speaks the language of the heart. So ask not only what is true, but also what feels sacred. The mind may doubt, the world may distract, but the heart remembers. This is how God speaks, not always with thunder, but with tremors of truth within the soul's sanctuary. So breathe, listen, and return to the center, because in that sacred stillness, you may hear the whisper again, "This is the way, walk in it." Isaiah 30:21.